I'm going on kind of a big adventure today, and I'm taking you along. My goal today is to ride all of Disney World transportation and to basically give you a complete guide of how to do Disney transportation like a pro. You'll notice that I am starting out at Disney Springs, and might be a kind of a weird place to start, but I also think that it's a good place too. Disney Springs is kind of one of the more centrally located places that you can get to from mostly anywhere. Your primary transportation here is definitely going to be the buses, which we will talk about a little bit later. But a really big thing that you need to know is that you cannot get from the parks to Disney Springs or from Disney Springs to the parks. This is really important when you are planning your Disney Springs day to know that you will probably have to either stop at a resort on your way here, or you may need to take something like a Minnie Van, an Uber or Lyft, or if you are driving on your own. There is one other transportation option here at Disney Springs, and that is the Sassagoula boat. So this is going to take you to only a few resorts, not all of them. As of right now, the only boat dock that they have that is like up and running is going to be way on the far end, kind of over by where Earl of Sandwich, the Christmas store, Spice and Tea Exchange, Rainforest Cafe, all the way down at that end of Disney Springs. I highly do not recommend planning on Disney Springs being an option to get you to the parks in the mornings, especially like if you're trying to rope drop or you're trying to avoid pay for parking, things like that, because Disney Springs is not open until 10 a.m. So a lot of that transportation is not going to be running until 10 a.m. And so if you're trying to get to a park, not only are you going to have to wait until 10, you're going to have to come to Disney Springs, transfer to either a bus or one of the boats, go to a resort, and then transfer to a bus or whatever other type of transportation to get to the park. And by that point, you're probably not going to be showing up to your park until about noon. Not a good strategy. Don't do it. Parking at Disney Springs already gets really full, so I never advocate for adding to the problem. But this is also a huge perk of why I do recommend staying on property if you can, because then you already have access to Disney's transportation and you don't have to mess with moving your car around or paying for parking. Right now, as the drone show is going on, it is important to remember that the boats do close at 8 p.m. So you need to make sure that you arrive early if you plan on taking the boat back to your resort. I've made it to the boat dock. So the boat dock where this is located, just kind of for wayfinding, it can be a little confusing to get here. You will actually have to exit Disney Springs over by where it's kind of back behind the Christmas store. So right back behind the Christmas store, you will exit and go to your left and then act almost like you're walking over to Saratoga. And then this is where you will find the boat dock. So this is going to drop you off at one of 4 resorts. You've got Port Orleans French Quarter, Port Orleans Riverside, Old Key West, and Saratoga Springs. These are the only 4 resorts that these boats go to. If you're trying to get anywhere else besides those 4, you are going to want to head to the bus stop. Now, I did see the boat bringing some people here. However, I asked the security guard when I was exiting, and he said that usually the boats will start running around 10:30, so we still have about 12 minutes or so. There is a boat there with a captain, so we'll see. We're gonna see what happens. I'm definitely here pretty early today, so we're experimenting together. And that is the Sassagoula boat. In case you missed it, there's basically like 2 sides that you can go on. So one side's gonna take you to Port Orleans French Quarter and Riverside. The other is going to take you to Old Key West and Saratoga Springs. You can also walk to Saratoga Springs. So I guess that just kind of depends on how you're feeling or where you are located at the resort. The boat ride to French Quarter and Riverside is probably going to be like the longest of the route. I would say that was probably a good like 15 minutes. And then you're gonna have another probably 5-minute or so boat ride over to Riverside. Boat transportation at Disney is probably some of my favorite. It's just very relaxing and chill. They always have fun music playing on the boats, and I do really enjoy the boats quite a lot, especially on a nice like breezy day like today. Very relaxing. So now we've made it to Port Orleans French Quarter. Some of my favorite things here to do are, of course, get yourself some Mickey beignets. They do also do live jazz on the weekends, which is a lot of fun. Love it a lot. This is a great resort to come and kind of do some relaxing and chilling. It's very quiet. There is some construction going on right now, but other than that, it's very calm, peaceful. I love this resort a lot. We actually did a whole video highlighting pretty much everything that you can do at this resort, so I'll have that video linked in the description. I'm actually not sticking around a whole lot this morning. I'm actually heading straight to the buses because it's time to get to our first park of the day. I see some buses. Are we gonna miss the one that we need? We gonna find out. Yep, that says Magic Kingdom. Don't leave without me. So this is actually one of the newer buses. So these are very nice. All Disney transportation, including the buses, is wheelchair accessible. So all of these seats actually will fold up and down. So fold down if we don't need it, but they'll fold up if we have like scooters or wheelchairs that need to go. A lot of the chairs, you can kind of see they have little USB chargers, and there are, of course, like the loops and stuff for those that'll be standing. We've made it to Magic Kingdom. We are at the bus stop. Something else that I really wanted to do today was try and collect transportation cards. So these are free like trading cards that you can get. Let me get out of here where it's not so loud. Transportation cards are free trading cards that you can get from pretty much most forms of transportation all around Disney World property. The buses, the ferry boats, all that sort of thing. Not every single cast member is going to have them, so it never hurts to ask, but I did ask my very kind bus driver. I feel bad because I don't remember what his name was, but he had these honorary bus driver stickers and some Mickey and Minnie stickers, so that was super sweet, really fun. So we're gonna be on the lookout today for more transportation cards. I haven't had any luck so far, but don't worry, we got lots more transportation things to do. First, we gotta get through security, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the buses. Complimentary bus transportation is offered at every single Walt Disney World resort, as well as Swan and Dolphin Resort and Shades of Green. These buses will take you to all 4 theme parks, Disney Springs, and depending on where you're at, the water parks too. These buses are complimentary to Disney Resort guests. However, if you are staying off property and you're just wanting to do some resort hopping, or kind of like what I'm doing today, just getting kind of from place to place, you are welcome to use the buses. They're not going to take you to any hotels or resorts that are off property. When we head back to some buses a little bit later, I'm going to show you the bus stop sign that'll pretty much show you how to know what bus to get on. It's very, very simple. All the bus stops are numbered, and by each number there is a resort that coordinates with it or a park destination. So it's very, very easy to know where you're going. There's usually a cast member nearby too that will ask you like, hey, you know where you're going? And they'll be sure to direct you to the right place. Buses do tend to run every around 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how busy it is, the time of day, that sort of thing. If you are at a Disney resort, you can usually look at the bus schedule to see when the next bus should be arriving. If you're at the parks, you're kind of just SOL and you just kind of gotta wait. But you know, that's the only downside with Disney transportation is I wouldn't say it's the fastest thing, but it is free, which is nice. Something I do love about the buses too is they've been doing a lot more fun like character wraps on the buses, so keep your eyes peeled because you never know what fun characters you are going to find. Now, as I mentioned before, it is not a good strategy to use Disney Springs and then going to resort and then going to a park as your way to get to the park in the morning. Just pay for parking, because it's already after 11 o'clock and I just got here and it's already, you know, starting to get pretty busy and you've pretty much missed your whole like low crowd morning at this point. So just pay for parking or stay at a Disney resort. But if you are doing like a half day where maybe you're spending the morning at Disney Springs or you're wanting to spend the afternoon at Disney Springs, this is the strategy that you'll probably want to use in order to do that. if you're coming from a park. Now let's head inside to Magic Kingdom because I think I'll have some better luck here. There's some other new merchandise that I want to check out over at Memento Mori. Thank you. Is it even a transportation video if we don't go ride the train?
More than showing folks around this Magic Kingdom, especially because it's certified proof that in these parts, dreams really do come true. We call it Big Thunder. Catch a ride on its runaway trains and you'll see why. This is Frontierland Station.
As we're pulling into the station, please remain fully seated.
And that was the Walt Disney World Railroad. That is a train that will go all around the Magic Kingdom. There are 3 stops. There's right at the front, Main Street USA, which is where we got on, here in Frontierland, right next to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And then there's another stop over in Fantasyland in Storybook Circus. This can be a fun little way to get yourself around the park, but I will warn you that sometimes like the unload and load stations can take a little bit, so have your patience if you're trying to do like all the way around, but it's a fun little option of transportation, and I feel like if we're doing a transportation video, we got to talk about it. So Memento Mori is the gift shop outside of Haunted Mansion, so this is where you're going to find a lot of your Haunted Mansion merch. I heard that there's a whole new collection that they just dropped a few days ago, so we're going to go peek at a few items, see what they got. We've got some fun Spirit jerseys, and I do think that they do glow in the dark. Got some new ears. Oh, these are cool. This is like the little Medusa portrait. That's kind of cool. Oh, I do think that this crew neck is so cool. This is velvet. I love that. If it wasn't a million degrees here. Time to head out of Magic Kingdom. Not a moment too soon. Definitely starting to get a little busy. But now we're gonna head out front and talk about boats and monorails. So first off, let's talk just a little bit of wayfinding. So here is where all the turnstiles are to get into Magic Kingdom. And then kind of straight ahead or like to the left as you walk out, that's going to take you to all of the bus stops as well as the walkway to the Contemporary Resort. That is a huge perk of staying at the Contemporary, is you do have that nice walking path. It's probably about a 10-minute walk, so not too terrible. And then just a little bit over, this is going to be the main ferries. That ferry boat is going to take you to what's called the TTC, or the Ticket and Transportation Center. We will head over there in just a few minutes to get over to Epcot, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Then you've got a couple resort launches. So the Boat Dock 1, that's going to take you to Disney Wilderness Lodge and Fort Wilderness, and then just a little bit to the right is going to take you to the Grand Floridian and the Polynesian resorts. So those are going to be your 4 boats. Monorail. And then finally, we have the monorail. There are 2 monorail options. There's the resort monorail and the express monorail. The resort monorail is going to kind of take you in a loop to the different resorts on the monorail line. The first stop on the resort monorail is the Contemporary, then it makes a stop at the TTC, then the Polynesian, the Grand Floridian, and then back at Magic Kingdom again. The express monorail is going to take you directly back and forth between the TTC and Magic Kingdom. So if you did park at the Magic Kingdom parking lot, that's going to be the monorail that you use. I see a boat. Let's see if we can get on it. Made it to the Grand Floridian. No dice on getting transportation cards. He didn't have any. But just keep asking, because you never know. Sometimes cast members have them and sometimes they don't. Hopefully we will get at least one today. That's my goal. Now, if you are taking that particular ferry boat, it will first stop at the Grand Floridian, and then it will stop at the Polynesian, and then back at the Magic Kingdom. The other transportation option at many of these resorts is the monorail. Now, this is probably the most iconic form of Disney transportation. It's basically like a train on a beam in the sky. highway in the sky, as they like to call it. This is a very popular form of Disney transportation, and a lot of people stay at these monorail resorts specifically so that they can have access to the monorail, and for good reason. The monorail is a great mode of transportation. However, you do kind of have to know how to navigate it a little bit. Although it is very convenient, it can be very inconvenient if you don't do it right. There are actually 2 monorail lines. There is the Magic Kingdom monorail loop. That's going to include the Polynesian, the Grand Floridian, the Contemporary, and Magic Kingdom, as well as the TTC. And at the TTC, this is also where you can transfer to the Epcot monorail line. Now, the Epcot monorail just goes back and forth between the TTC and Epcot, which is what we are getting ready to do, but we do have to go on a little bit of an adventure to get there. And this is the one, I would say, downside of the monorail, if you are staying on the monorail loop, is that if you are trying to get to Epcot from any of these resorts, it can take a little while. So to get to the monorail, you are going to come out to the 2nd floor of the main lobby area. So this is the lower level. You're going to come up to the 2nd floor and come around to the front doors, and the monorail is right there. The monorail station will be open for select hours of the day, so a lot of it just depends on how late the parks are open. So make sure that you keep in mind the operation hours. If you're getting onto the monorail, you do have to go through security, so just make sure that you are prepared for that before you board. Monorail is already here. Let's see if we can make it on. Success! I finally got a transportation card. First one of the day. So this one's for the monorail. So again, you just have to ask all the cast members because you never know. They may have them, they may not. But got my monorail one. So these are totally free. I think there's like 34 or 35 different ones that you can collect. Sometimes they'll have like different colors. I can't remember. I do have a monorail one, but I don't remember what color it is. But they have really fun little facts on the back. So like this one says, did you know each 6-car monorail train has a length of 203.5 feet and an overall height of 10.5 feet. The maximum speed of a monorail is 40 miles per hour, and the Walt Disney World monorail system transport more than 22 million guests each year. So very cool. We will see if we can get any more of these today. My goal is to get a bus one because I don't have any bus ones. I did get a monorail one, so I'm pleased. Made it to Epcot, but I got so excited about my transportation card that I forgot to talk about the TTC. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that before we head into Epcot. So the Transportation and Ticket Center, that is the Magic Kingdom parking lot. A big reason why I spent a lot of this video talking about all the transportation at Magic Kingdom is because that's probably like the most complicated area because there's so many options depending on where you're going. Most other places are not going to have so many things. The Transportation and Ticket Center is the parking lot for Magic Kingdom. So this is mostly for people who are not staying at Disney resorts. So if you have your own car and you are parking, or you're staying at a hotel off property that has like shuttle transportation to the parks, they're probably going to drop you off at the TTC. From there, to get to Magic Kingdom, you can take that big ferry boat like we talked about, or the monorail. You are going to usually want to take the express monorail if you do that, but sometimes if the express line is is like super long, you can technically take the resort monorail, but I would only do that in like extreme circumstances. When you do park at the TTC, you are going to probably hop on a tram up to the main area. It is a very, very, very large parking lot, like one of the largest in the world. So those trams are going to be super helpful. If there is one, go ahead and take it. I never recommend paying for preferred parking at the TTC. The other parks, maybe, sure, I guess, but at the TTC, I do not recommend it because where you park in preferred, you have to walk up to the security station. You can't take a tram. So if you don't want to walk, park in the regular parking and take the tram because it drops you off right there at security. Now, the only time that if you are staying on Disney property, the only time you'll probably be messing with the TTC is if you're staying at a monorail resort and headed to Epcot, kind of like what I just did. So you will have to take the monorail around to the TTC and then transfer to the Epcot monorail. Again, there's signs everywhere, so don't let it confuse you too much. Just make sure you look at the signs, and if you see the one that says Epcot, be like, cool, that's where I need to go. Since you do hit security up before you get onto the monorail, you don't have to go through security when you get to Epcot. So security is actually right there. Shh, you're not supposed to film security, but security is right there. I'm already in, so I can directly go up and scan into the park. So let's go do that. And I think it's time for a little bit of a lunch break. Okay, I opted for Sunshine Season for lunch. I got a salmon kids meal with green beans. So you could have the option to do green beans, rice, or mashed potatoes. And then you do also get like an applesauce or carrots or apples and a little drink. And all that was about $8 or $9, so not too shabby. Just a little quick bite to eat to keep me energized because we still have a lot of places that we're hitting up today. So I'm gonna eat and then we'll check back with you after. All right, I am refueled, cooled down, feeling a lot better, ready to keep going. So we actually are not going to be sticking around in Epcot. We're mostly just passing through, but there's a really cool transportation thing in the park that I want to show you. And then we have a whole brand new type of transportation that we're going to talk about once we get to the other side. Okay, so time to talk about the friendship boats. So here in Epcot, when you get to World Showcase, there's a giant lagoon in the middle, and it is a little bit over a mile to walk all the way around, and that is a lot of steps. However, if you don't want to walk all the way around, but you do need to get to the other side, you can take the friendship boats. These are complimentary boats. Anybody can use them. You don't have to pay extra for them. You can just get on. But it takes you back and forth between the front of World Showcase to the Morocco Pavilion, and it just goes back and forth all day long. There is another like entrance exit to Epcot in the back of World Showcase called International Gateway, which is where we're heading. And so instead of walking all the way around, we're gonna take the friendship boat. And they do have transportation cards. I got one from here the other day, but we'll ask them again, see if they have any today. A couple more things to know about the friendship boats is that they do close around 7:15, 7:30-ish, depending on the night, because the boats that carry the fireworks for the show and like set up for that happens during that time, so they need to make sure that the water is clear for that. We are gonna head to the Skyliner and talk a little bit about the Epcot resorts and kind of some of the transportation that is over there. Gotta take those short AC breaks when you can. Before we head on the Skyliner, I want to talk about the other set of friendship boats that are outside of the park. So out of the back entrance of Epcot here at International Gateway, where we just exited from, you've got the Epcot resorts. That's going to be Beach and Yacht Club, the Boardwalk, Swan and Dolphin, and the Swan Reserve. Now you can walk to all of these resorts. Some are a little closer than others, but you do also have the option to take the friendship boat. Now the friendship boat will hit up all of those resorts as well as Epcot and Hollywood Hollywood Studios. We aren't going to do this boat today because we are going to hop on the Skyliner, but it is good to know that you do have those transportation options if you are staying at one of those resorts. Now keep in mind, because there are so many stops, sometimes the boat can take a long time depending on where you're trying to go, but if you aren't a fan of walking or it's really hot and you just need a sit break, the boat is the way to go. And the Disney Skyliner. This is probably my second favorite form of Disney transportation behind the boats. The Skyliner is Disney's newest form of transportation. This will take you to several resorts and also to Hollywood Studios. So the Skyliner starts here at Epcot. It'll take us to the Riviera Resort, Caribbean Beach Resort, Pop Century, Art of Animation, and Hollywood Studios. What I love about this mode of transportation is that for the most part, it is continuous. So the lines move very, very quickly. Now, I will warn you that at park close, the line can get very, 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 very long. So my recommendation is take your time getting out of Epcot, let some of that crowd filter through, and then your wait won't be quite so long. But let's hop on the Skyliner and see where it goes. Now, we aren't going to do like a ton of things on the Skyliner loop today. However, I have a few videos where we did just that, so I'll have those linked in the description box below. Made it on. Boom shakalaka. And I think I lucked out and got one that doesn't have the audio, so I can actually talk to you while we're on this ride. So a few things to know about the Skyliner. Again, you are totally welcome to ride the Skyliner whether you are staying on Disney property or off Disney property, as long as you're trying to get to wherever the Skyliner is taking you. It is very breezy. I know you can't see it because my hair is up, but there's definitely a nice cool breeze, which is great, especially on a warm day, so you don't have to worry about that. It will sometimes stop a little bit, but it'll only stop for like a minute or two, so don't panic. All that usually means is that someone in one of the accessible cars is getting put back on the line. That's usually all that means. So the line that I'm going on right now, this is going to make a stop at Riviera, but I'm gonna stay on. You only need to get off at Riviera if you're trying to go to Riviera. So I'm gonna stay on, and it's going to continue on to Caribbean Beach Resort, which that station, ooh, we're turning. We made it to the turn station. That is the main hub for the Skyliner. So that's where you're going to get off and transfer to the other lines wherever you're trying to go, whether that's Art of Animation and Pop Century or Hollywood Studios. Again, I'm mostly just showing logistics today, but if you do want to see some of the cool things that you can do at some of the resorts on the Skyliner line, make sure you go check out those videos. One more thing that is very important to know is that if there is lightning in the area, the Skyliner will not be running. If that is the case, then the buses will be available. So just make sure that if you're heading towards the Skyliner that you are checking the forecast before you walk all the way over to the Skyliner, just in case you have to turn around and head to the buses. This is the Skyliner Hub. So this is the main like transfer station. We just got off of the Epcot and Riviera line over here. So you have the Hollywood Studios line behind me, and then Art of Animation and Pop Century is on that line. Again, there's lots of signs everywhere to tell you where to go. If you get confused, you can always ask a cast member. They're sure to direct you in the right way. But know that whenever you get to this station, wherever you're coming from, you do have to get off and transfer to get to whatever new line that you need to get on. Woohoo! Thank you. Thanks so much. Y'all, I just scored. I'm so excited. So I did get my Disney Skyliner transportation card, and I actually had to ask a couple cast members because the first one did not have them, but they did have some of these safety cards. So these are another like fun little free thing that you can collect. They just have like, they're Timon and Pumbaa, and they have little safety tips on the back. Very cute. And he even had one of the transportation tokens. So again, it never hurts to ask because you never know. A lot of times cast members will have stickers or just all kinds of fun little freebies that are fun to collect, and they're just good little souvenirs. But I'm excited I got a Skyliner one today. Okay, thank you. And just like that, we have made it to Hollywood Studios. We're actually not staying here at all. We're gonna hop right onto a bus. But that just gives you a little bit of a taste of kind of how the Skyliner works. We did make it over here. It's usually only about 15 minutes or so from Epcot to Hollywood Studios, so it does go pretty fast. Of course, it'll be a little longer if there's a bit of a line, but not too bad. Now again, just around the corner is where the friendship boats dock. So if you do want to use that instead of the Skyliner, you absolutely can. I'm gonna head back to the bus stop because it is time to head back to Disney Springs, so it'll be a little bit of an adventure to get there, but I'm going to show you guys kind of what I mean by this whole like bus switcheroo thing that you have to do because you can't get to Disney Springs from the parks. These are the bus directories, so any of the places where you're going to have bus stops, so pretty much at all 4 parks, Disney Springs, you're going to look for this bus directory. This is going to tell you what stop you need to go to for whatever resort or destination you're trying to get to. These numbers are going to be different from place to place, so you do need to check this every time. Don't assume that you're at bus stops 4 at one place, you're going to be at bus stop 4 at the others, because you will not. It's all different. So definitely make sure you check that out. Again, it's really easy. They have numbers and it tells you exactly where you need to go. Usually there's cast members during busier times out here to make sure that you know where you're going to. For me, because my aim is to get back to Disney Springs, again, you cannot take a bus from a park to Disney Springs or from Disney Springs to a park. You have to go to a resort and then transfer to a Disney Springs bus from there. So we're just gonna kind of stay bus stop roulette to see what bus comes first, and we're probably just gonna hop on that and then we'll transfer from there. Made it on. Surprise. Made it to Animal Kingdom Lodge. So that was the bus there was a bus already there and it was the closest stop. So I was like, all right, why not? But while I'm here, there's a treat that I need to get to take home to Mark Allen because he'll be mad if he finds out that I was here and I didn't get some. But first, I want to show you the little like boards. So if you are at a Disney resort and you're wanting to know when the next bus is coming, at the bus station, they do have these really helpful little like bus times. So it'll give you kind of an estimate of when the next bus will arrive. This is very helpful. And if you are staying at that resort, like for example, if you were staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, you can also look this up in the My Disney Experience app under your hotel reservation. They only have that available at the resorts, so they don't have that at the parks. So sometimes those can be like, you just kind of got to guess when your bus is going to get there, but that's okay. So now we're going to head over to the Mara, get ourselves a little sneak snack before we head back to Disney Springs. Success. They had one thing of them left. So zebra domes are these little like dome cake things. I don't even know. They're so freaking good. I don't even know how to describe these, but they do have these in Boma, which is the like buffet restaurant that's here. So you can get like a million of these, and I do recommend. And then here at the Mara, you can usually get them in like a little pack of 4 for like $4. Not too bad. This is probably one of my #1 Disney snacks. So freaking good. Don't worry, I am saving 2 for Mark Allen. Hopefully these last by the time it takes me to get home. So now we're heading back to the bus stop and we will hop on the next bus to Disney Springs. Okay, let's see where we need to go. So not zone 1 or zone 2. It does say that the Disney Springs bus should be here any minute. Not Epcot. This must be zone 4. Our next bus is estimated to be here for Springs in a minute. There she is. There's our bus. Disney Springs. I have officially made it all the way back to Disney Springs, and I lucked out and got not one, but 2 bus transportation cards. So this one is for like a normal bus, and then there was one for like the extended buses. So yay, I'm pleased about that. A few more things that I wanted to talk about as far as like a few other locations that you may need to know how to get to. If you're planning on going to the water parks, most of the resorts are not going to have bus transportation from the resort to the water park. There will be a few exceptions to that. If it's the time period when Typhoon Lagoon is open, everyone's going to take a bus to Disney Springs and then transfer to a Typhoon Lagoon bus. If Blizzard Beach is open, I know in the past they usually will have you go to Animal Kingdom and then transfer from a bus from there, but honestly, you can always look it up in the app because I know sometimes that'll change. If you're planning on visiting the mini golf courses, if you're planning on doing Fantasia Gardens, that one you can always take a bus to the Swan Reserve from any of the Disney parks or Disney Springs. If you're trying to get to Winter Summerland mini golf, that is actually located at Blizzard Beach. So however you are getting to Blizzard Beach is also how you're going to get to Winter Summerland mini golf. Now, if Blizzard Beach is not open, you will have to Uber or drive or take a Minnie Van, which is the last mode of transportation that I haven't talked about yet. Minnie Vans are exactly what they sound like. They're Minnie Vans that are themed to Minnie Mouse. These are ran through Lyft, so it's kind of like a partner collaboration between Disney and Lyft. So it's just Disney's rideshare system. They are driven by Disney cast members, so they aren't just like random Joe Blow Uber driver, but it does operate pretty much exactly the same way that Lyft does. The only difference is that when you get in the Lyft app and you're on Disney property, you'll see the option to select a minivan. Do be aware that there is a little bit of a premium price for these, but because you're getting that Disney cast member that's driving you, it's usually a really cool interaction and one that I do recommend experiencing at least once. And they do have transportation cards for the minivans too, so we'll have to hunt for that one day. But I think with that, I need to get these zebra domes home to Mark Allen. I hope you guys enjoyed following along today. And if you do want a little bit of a cheat sheet on Disney transportation, I have a free download that you can get linked in the description box below. If you did make it to this point in the video, make sure you let me know what your favorite form of Disney transportation is. And don't forget to subscribe for even more content. That's all I have for you today. Now go create your ever after.